Hello everybody. Welcome to another Odin Wednesday, the day of our Lord. Today, unfortunately, I won't be doing any coding because I've had an extremely long day working today and I am absolutely knackered. So I'm just going to have a little chat here, talking about different things, and hopefully people are enjoying it whilst I'm here. So I am going to be posting all the links for this stream to all of the appropriate places, of course. And as they say, let's enjoy ourselves, shall we? Right, we're getting it all in the right places. Like so. Okie dokes, okie dokes, okie dokes. Hello, how you doing, Michael? Today is been a long day. 11.5 hour shift. Not fun. I will not be doing that again for a very, very long time, if ever. I'll make sure of it. But yeah, that was okay. So just getting that done. So today, I know I'm not talking about Odin and stuff, and I wanted to, if I had the time at least, I wanted to fix a bunch of bugs. There's been a lot of bugs which have not been, well, handled. So we go to the GitHub place, just talking about, the GitHub place, of course, not just the Odin one. We're talking about all the bunch of bugs that we've got wrong. Well, I've got wrong at least. Some of them are error messages, or unclear. What else is there? Another one needs a better error message for polymorphic functions. That's a difficult one to do, but possible. Aliasing for polymorphic structs. I understand why people want it, obviously, but it's annoying. Yes, there's some PRs as well. I know Oscar did one earlier. Actually did two earlier. And they look absolutely hunky-dory. So because they look absolutely hunky-dory, I'm going to be really kind and just merge it straight away because it looks correct. And yeah, again, it's the reason why it was commented out to do the Unix the get TID thread ID. And you've had to go for the newer version thing, which is on Darwin, which is the P thread IPMP. Hello, how you doing? Right, I'm going to approve that one and merge it. Confirm merge. And there we go. So we've got the other one, which was the thing. It was the thread ID stuff. So you were able to put, that's a good idea. Quite like that, actually. It's not a bad idea. I'll approve that and merge it. Hello, how are you doing? Hello, guys, master. You seem to be a master of this. Hello, guys. So we've got more people in the stream. So you've got the desktop output. Yeah, I'm not showing it off. You can show it if you want. Look, here's the desktop output for GitHub. And I'm just looking through it. What else is there? Someone said, we can. Did I approve that? I just didn't merge it. Yep. There was another one here, which is from 11 days ago, which was to fix pthread on macOS. And what were the fixes? I remember. Oh yeah. So this was because on macOS the pthread is not just a U64; it's an opaque struct with loads of different data in it. Yeah, that is. I know that's correct already. Luckily. And yeah, because it means you've got one word, two words, and then I don't know how many words that would be there, but yeah, and rather than just one word there. So if that's the case, that looks fine to me. Seriously, I'm absolutely okay with that. As long as it compiles fine, which I know it did. Other pull requests that we're doing. Can you not see the screen? It should be working now, by the way. I didn't merge the virtual stuff because I didn't want it to be a separate package mainly. Dynamic arena. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I need to there's a lot of things I need to add. There's one thing I need to also add is logs. I need to make them, some of them at least, thread safe. What I mean by that, I mean add a mutex in there, because there's a bug I've noticed where some of the logs happen and they are overwriting things at the same time. Which I don't know if the default log should do that, because I don't really want the logging system to actually rely upon like sync. If that makes any sense. But at least we got down most of the pull requests. That's pretty good. There's a load of issues here. Yeah, I know this is a bug. Label that as a bug. I know it's a bug because it's, in this case, I'm not sure. In this case, I wouldn't allow it because I'm supposed to be putting it. Yeah, they all have to be. It has to be a single thing. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense when you do it. Yeah, that is a good bug I've noticed, and I know what those bugs are anyway. They're off by 1 hour. They're literally off by 1 hour. Yeah, you could put a concurrent logger, it's not a problem. There's loads of things you could just wrap. So the best thing about having these loggers is because you just can wrap everything. It's beautiful. Yeah, I know what this bug is as well. I am going to guess this is on OS X only. Yes, it's macOS. And I know exactly what the problem is. It's my flipping idiocracy. So it's a pack struct here. And this pack struct means that this is 16 plus 32, so it's 48 bits wide. That's how big it is. But the code, which is, I know this is why I thought I properly supported system fee already, but no, I forgot to take into account pack structs. They're slightly different, and you would have to. They do get passed as in a register because it's packed and it would fit in it, so it'd be fine. So you just cheat a lot. There's a lot of cheats everywhere. Cheating's good. Cheating's good. If you can do it. Yeah, some of the things I was looking on here as well. But yeah, there's a few bunch of other things. So someone was asking me earlier today. Was it Andrew Reese, I think? Yeah, AZMR. He was asking me about, am I going to release a new article soon regarding my research into concurrency models? And I said, yes, I am, but it's not what you're going to expect. It's going to be a bit of both. It's going to be talking about different models and also the psychology about why people want certain models. And at the end of the day, it's interesting. So a brief overview of what I'm talking, there's like different models of concurrency. There's like CSP, there's the actor model. There's all the different Pi calculus stuff, which is technically an extension of CSP. There's all of the different threading type of ideas where you can have single-threaded, multi-threaded, multiple fibers on a single thread. So that's like Python, which is time slicing, or multiple fibers across multiple threads, which is like Go routines at the end of the day. And they're all pretty interesting things, to say the least. And there's so many different models. But at the end of the day, a lot of the models are... I'm trying to think of the word for it. 689? Sorry. Yeah, it is, but I mean... I think it's probably the official thing. I forgot. No, it's not. Actually, this isn't working yet. I've just forgot how to implement it for this. I think it's just literally me forgetting. There's just so many things like that. Yeah, not so showing that. There's nothing to show. It's all crap anyway. LLVM doesn't. It's not technically a Stack Overflow. It's a LLVM's crap. There's a bunch of stuff I've got to fix. Yeah. Yeah, so I was back to my article thing anyway, but yeah, the general idea is I want to go over the different models, but the problem is if you adhere to one single model, a lot of the time it's good enough and it's fine, but then sometimes it's like you're forcing yourself into one. And then the other thing is that, yeah, you have these basic primitives and these patterns that pop up all the time, but you don't really orientate yourself around those patterns. even if they are common. So that's why, for instance, like in Odin, I implemented like channels, and I've got like Go-like channels working, which are like pretty much, it's not even Go-like, they're technically Unix like pipes with select statement and everything. So it's all working, that all works fine. And I got it working on Windows. I haven't got it working on Mac and stuff and Linux yet. Because with Windows, I was relying on the wait on dress thing, which is like a very interesting thing. It's where you can get like it's kind of like a 7.4 or a condition variable, but it's very low level and it can be any size, even a byte. I make sure it's just a word size because I'm wasting that memory anyway. So I thought just use the whole bleeding word up. But yeah. But it was it's interesting to see. So I do like CSP, and I do think it's a very simple approach to things. But it does heavily rely on having the ability to spawn loads of different threads. And you can easily do them, in a sense. It'll have loads of different processes, because it does really like having different mana processes. And not all systems allow for that, so that's where that kind of model fails. Not fails, it's got a flaw to it. There's other things like, again, most of them that require that we could have as many concurrency things as once, and the more I have it, better it scales. And it's like, that's not usually what you're dealing with. Then there's general things like worker queues, I should say, where you add tasks to a queue and then the workers deal with it. Those are very similar to the CSP stuff, but the CSP stuff is more. It is it's a very similar way of doing things, but the CSP thing is more a bit higher than that. Because instead of having just a specific queue you push the data to, and then these things read off, the queue is represented by this channel. And the channel doesn't have necessarily to be buffered, but it can be, and there's many things like that. It's a bit interesting, but it's interesting. I wasn't interested in psychology at all, because people are looking for these silver bullets, and they don't really exist. Especially when... I'm trying to think of the best way of framing it, but yeah, it's... I understand nowadays that computers are getting more and more cores. So yes, you have to deal with them in some way. But trying to abstract it further and further is not necessarily the best way of dealing with it. And especially when, yes, some computers might have 64 cores now, but mine still has 4. In fact, it only has 4 threads. I don't even have hyperthreading on this CPU. And it's a pretty damn fast CPU. I don't really care. I don't need the hyperthreading. But it's like most people still don't have as many, but some of them do. And yes, you want to push it out as much as you can. And it is a question: is how do you model those problems? And it's like, well, they're not all the same. And it is this look. We want a single model and do it. So your question is, what kind of tasks do you think Odin is best for? How does this differ from other languages like JAI? So Odin is meant to be an alternative to C. That is fundamentally what it is. And it can pretty much, it's meant to go anything C can for my systems level stuff on modern hardware. So C is been designed effectively for everything. And good God, does everything. So regarding JAI, that's Jonathan Blow's language for people who do not know. I'll put this on the screen here. There's on a wiki here, which is Odin versus JAI. This is just a general comparison, because many people say, "Oh, what's Odin and JAI very similar?" And there are similarities, but there's quite a lot of distinct things as well. So, for instance, going through the list here, this is correct as the time writing in February 2020. No, there's some stuff I need to add in there as well. One extra thing I need to add, but yeah, it's fine. So, like name focus declaration syntax. This is what I had an article about this, and this is what Odin has as well as JAI. It's technically Ada syntax, effectively. But it's Ada syntax plus some extra stuff for constants. We have this using statement, we have the defer statement, we have parametric polymorphism syntax with this $. Quite like it, nicked from JAI, but it makes perfect sense. I originally didn't think it was consistent because I couldn't think of a way of making it consistent, and then I found out a way to make it consistent, and it was like, yeah, that's fine, there's no problem in it. The implicit context system, the any type in Odin and JI is very similar. You've got the when type in Odin, and it's the hash if statement, sorry, in JI. You got the type ID in Odin, the type in JI. You got default procedure parameters, name procedure results. These are very useful, but Odin's a slightly different semantics. Then you got default initializations and stuff. But maybe a real question is asking, why would I use Odin over another language, or especially why JI? Well, the thing is, it's just personal preference. Seriously, a language is nothing but a tool at the end of the day, and you should use whatever makes you better at your job. Seriously, it helps you solve the problems that you have. And if you are using one language X, and that's better than language Y for that particular problem, then use language X. Yeah. So yeah, we've got some other stuff here as well. So there's generally different things like it's public available at the moment. It's like OGI is private beta. JI also supports arbitrary compile time execution and compile time AST modification. It's an outdated video, but it's stuff it can do. Odin has different things though. Odin is strongly typed with virtually no implicit conversion. I call this type distinct typing. Not many languages have it, but it's very, very useful. But JI has a lot of like implicit conversions if it can, like going between ints and stuff. When it doesn't, like it's very similar to C++ in its syntax. It's semantics. Odin is, again, I use a type. It's a Pascal type system at the end of the day, and JI is very C-like. It's very interesting that when people use Odin who are very used to C, they think it's a much better C, and it's like, well, I've just nicked all the stuff from Pascal and cleaned it up and made it feel better. It solves a lot of the bunches of C. It's like Pascal was always about language in many regards. Well, it wasn't in its early days, but it was a better language, like conceptually. I've got Odin has modular or Go style directory-based package system. JI's is still file-based. There's advantages of both of these. I did a hell of a amount of research on all this, and it was a bit annoying. Odin has a discriminated union type, and it's a pretty unique approach to it as well. No other language I've seen does this, because it takes advantage of Odin's distinct typing. Other languages usually try and make their discriminated unions like an enum, but Odin says, no, we don't need that because we've got distinct typing. Do it. Use it. We've got bit set in Odin, which is like a Pascal set. It's very useful. We've got bit field type. Odin has a C string. I know JI has like a pointer U8, but C string is very, very useful as a type. And distinct type declarations, which is useful for the distinctness here. Odin also has a built-in map type, but in JI you'd have to use level stuff. Odin has built-in slicing notation. JI doesn't. Odin has where clauses for procedure and record types. Where clauses are pretty interesting things. Yeah, I know I'm going through this in the stream. I'm not trying to do work. I'm not programming today, that's why. And just stuff. So I recommend just reading this through. So don't worry about that. We should probably have a little bot on here, or something if we can, that just says, what's Odin? And then it just gives us the links. That would be useful, rather than me explaining it by words. But now I'm rambling because I'm tired. But yeah, there you go. Right, so other little things I was kind of discussing with Odin. Things that need to be done, at least, is that the core library needs a... Oh, flipping out, let's close that. Exit Steam. I didn't mean to open up Steam. There's a bunch of stuff in the core library that I've been adding and want to also add to. Yeah, I know YouTube's API is awful. Yeah, I'll go to Twitch when I can get it to work again. Seriously, it just stopped working for me randomly. And I have no idea why. But yeah, so we've got all this different stuff here. We've got all the different packages now. They're getting quite nice. We do need to get more in here. Like, for instance, the other day I was working on an LSW reader and writer. We've got another one. What am I drinking tonight? I've only just got literally a shot of Woodford Reserve bourbon because that's just all I can drink. That's all I want anyway, just to relax. Nothing special. Well, it is nice. It's a nice drink. But yeah, that's what I'm drinking. The other things, I was just looking for other encoding stuff. And the reason why I was doing LZW was for image decoding. And there's two main formats. There is the ones that PNG and GIF use, and then there's the one that TIFF uses. And the TIFF one is got slightly different to that. It's actually off by one in one little place, and that's it. Luckily, I've written the code so it handles both. It's not actually that difficult to support both, but it's just like. So that's why, and the reader was more important for me for images than the writer. The writer is a bit more complicated, obviously. Not writer, but yeah, writer, yeah. So yeah, I want some more encoding stuff in there, just in general stuff, like even zip, gzip, tar. There would be lovely things to have in there. What else you got in here? Got other things, got containers. I might add some more container types. There's a lot more I've got to add to that bunch. I did add a bloom filter one day. I just thought, why not add a bloom filter? It'd be pretty cool. And it's really boring at the end of the day, but like bloom filters are pretty interesting things. I think I've only ever needed one once in my entire life, but they are cool things. Got all them built in there. What else we got in here? Things that need improving. There's stuff in the math library as well. We've got bits, linear, and rand. Sync, I've been adding stuff. I've been adding all the new channel stuff, which has been pretty interesting. So channel, I've got the high level stuff, which is the wrapped type, and then you got the raw crap, which is, you can use the raw stuff. Actually, the reason why it's got prefix was the raw, but yeah. I think there's a few things that the core library does still need. There's a big long list of stuff, to be honest with you. I also need to make the core library work with different configurations, so I need to make sure that the runtime works with other things. So one of the plans that I want to do is make it possible to compile Odin without requiring like a map type or a dynamic array. And the reason for this is if you're going on embedded systems, you may need to you may not want a map type at all because it's got not implicit allocations, but it does have some implicit behavior. For instance, I added a new flag the other day. Let me just check the flag. I can't remember what it was. It was disabling dynamic literals is what it was. So like dynamic array literals and dynamic map types. So disable. No, was it no? Yeah, no dynamic literals. This is what it was. So yeah, here's the flag. There was no dynamic literals, and the whole point was that so I can disable stuff, and it works. It does work, which is again useful. I can't. Oh, I know what that's for. I forgot all about that. But yeah, there's all this little build flags, and I don't really want to have too many. Another thing I want to add to the core library is just ability pretty much to have all control over the build system through a library. So you do Odin build, you do Odin run on like build.odin, effectively, and then that when it gets built and calls another thing, it calls and just builds your other project. So you're just writing your project script in Odin. So that requires a little package to do. To actually make a little decent one it's not difficult, to be honest. It would probably take a day, but you could get a good one. And you can explain why, oh look, you can do all cool stuff in Odin. You don't have to get outside the language. You don't have to use like Python or a batch script. You can just use Odin. I would still use a batch script, to be honest with you, for some things. Especially just being able to call it. It's just simple to do. What else is there that needs doing? There's a bunch of stuff as well. One of the things is I need to get some of the bugs fixed. I'm then doing a new release of Odin. And then the next things that I'm going to be pretty much working on Odin, nothing but Odin on, it will be the compiler at least, will be debug information, which I know a lot of people have been wanting. Seriously, I know people have been asking for this properly, and I mean, like, look, new backend will be able to have proper support for debug information, and we'll be able to get a decent amount as well. And I'm just going to go there fully, because it's got to the point where I kind of need it as well. It's been like, yeah, it's one of those, like, look, as soon as I've got the next release out, which I hope to get done in like 2 weeks' time, because I'm taking a week off for a holiday next week. So I'm not going anywhere, by the way, just taking the time off. I've not had a holiday all year. Damn COVID, damn you, coronavirus, making you mean you can't go anywhere. But yeah, so I just want to relax and do literally bugger all. That's kind of what I want to do. So yeah, again, I'm always recommending people help me out with stuff, especially if you want to add new libraries. Right, so someone's saying about why don't you use makefiles and brace them? And this one else replied to that. Well, I've never heard of a pro Windows user that likes makefiles. Well, I don't hate makefiles at all. They are just useless on Windows. And when I mean useless, I mean not everyone has somewhere to run make. Seriously, it just doesn't always work if you have mmake or anything. So I always use a batch script on Windows. When it comes to Linux or Mac, I'll use a makefile, or I'll be using a shell script, depending on how complicated you want to get. Usually it's like a build.sh, or it'll just be a build make script. It'll be one or the other. I don't go really complicated with my build systems because I don't need them to be complicated. If you're doing something from scratch, you make sure that your build systems are simple. Right. What was the thing? So, probably going to stop the stream in about 10 minutes. Actually, how long am I going to stop the stream? How long have we been going? I'm already tired. We'll stop in about half an hour or so. Yeah, because I'm quite tired. So it's not going for too long. I want an early night because I'm going to be up again early. And then it's my last day tomorrow for my main job. Yay! Last day. Whew. But okay, so although again, many things you want good to work on for Odin, this is going to be wonderful. So the plans, one thing I've also got planned to do is I'm going to update the website. I'm going to put some proper graphics for the roadmap, so where things are going to be going. It's going to be pretty useful. So plans for things is we've got to get a new release out. I'm going to have official roadmap stuff where it's going to be all proper graphics, make it look pretty and stuff, helping people how to do stuff. What else is there? There's also all of the debug information that's got to go on. We've got improvements to do with the core library. We've got a hell of a lot to do. And I mean, I need as much help as I can get. The only problem I have with the debug information, which is going to be annoying at least, is that every single type is going to have its own debug information type if I have debug info enabled. And it's a pain. The other thing I've got also to fix is I've got to improve release builds for the new LLVM backend. I'll say the LLVM, the built-in one. Because I've noticed when you do release builds for LLVM, it doesn't really improve it much compared to the old backend, which is a little bit interesting. It means I haven't got the passes correct, which means we're going to have to do a hell of a lot of experimentation. How to improve that? So there's a bunch of things to solve there. What else we got to solve? I cannot. There's a bunch of stuff. There's so much stuff to do. There's some performance improvements we've got to do in the compiler. For instance, I've got to get the minimum dependency system improved because that's taken up a hell of a lot of time nowadays. Like sometimes it's taken up about a third of the entire front end because it's completely out of order, hash tables and reading and writing. It's slow. And hash tables are meant to be really easy. It's like, yeah, they're really easy to look in, but they're not easy to insert. They're not fast to insert. That's the problem. Especially if things don't exist already. It's not technically a hash table, the hash sets I'm using everywhere, but yeah, I've got to improve that performance. And if anyone can want to improve that, please do. Yes, that is a very, very good point. We need to build the LLVM c.lll in the command CI, the continuous integration. The only reason I've got it in the binary at the moment is it's not that much of an issue. It's just it solves a lot but problems at the moment. But yeah, you're right. We should put it in the CI. Doesn't mean we have to build it, because I just get this one from the latest LLVM, and I'd probably recommend people do that as well. But that one you can probably check exactly the bits and bytes where it's been built. Oh no, Odin's mostly feature complete. There is pretty much nothing else I want to add to Odin, like language features wise. There's most of the compiler stuff I want to work on. There's some minor things with the language, but they're like so minor things, it's not even worth talking about. Yeah, Odin's mostly feature complete. Many different companies are even using it now. Many people have been using it now. It's a very good language, and it's pretty good. Yeah, that is very true. If we build ourselves maybe a static library, and that is very true. I would only do that continuous integration for the proper releases, because for the nightly builds, it might be a bit slow, because building LLVM takes a bunch of time. So for nightlies, it might be just like, look, you know how to do this, right? I'll just do it. But for the full builds, yeah, we could probably build it ourselves. Especially a static build would be so nice. I like the DLL anyway because it's a lot quicker to deal with, and it's just simpler, because also if the C API does work with the DLL by default, let me just get that across. I'm just looking for I'm looking for LLVM, which will be there. So yeah, so here's the LLVM stuff, and if I remember correctly, it's got all these different bins in here. So if we go to LLVM C, there's a DLL in there, and that's where I get it from. It's because it's just pre-built, so I'll just use it and go, yep, that works. And you see, it is 55 megabytes on this at the moment, which is a huge thing to download if you've got a massive repo. But it's simple to deal with, and it's got all the LLVM headers here, which is nice. And only some of them, at least, not all of them. You've got all the other libraries for this you can link and build to. Like there's the Clang stuff. There's the LLVM c.lib. But notice how small this is. This is because it just links to the DLL. So if we wanted a static one, yes, we'd have to build it ourselves, because the rest just rely on the DLLs. We don't need that. There's nothing in there as well. But yeah, they're all the stuff in the Explorer. Yeah, I've also got other plans in general, what I need to do for other things in general. I've got a little idea for a little application I need to make. It's only a little thing, it's for my own use, really. But it might be useful for a few people, so I might release it. It's only a little thing, so it's not actually big. I might see if I can actually make it into a phone app, like a smartphone app, but I've never actually made a smartphone app. Yeah, I use the C API, and there's two reasons why I use the C API over the C++ API. One, the C API is actually an API. The C++ one is just the library. It's not even an API. And the second is that the C API is also more stable than the C++ code. And I don't want to have to rely upon updating on every time LLVM changes, and it changes how everything interfaces with, and I'd rather just stick with the API, because the API should be more than enough for what I need. I know it says sometimes you may not have all the things, and I'm like, at that point, I don't care. But it should be like, look, it's. I don't want to heavily integrate Odin into LLVM if I can. There's so much. It's one of those big regrets I've had. Like when I first started Odin, I wish I just had my own custom backend. I really wish I spent a month writing an x64 backend from scratch. Just done it. I had the time back then. But no, I spent like a month getting LLVM in because I thought that was the better thing, getting optimizing backend, all that lot. And I do kind of regret it. Oh well, you live and learn. It's my one mistake is when I first tried LLVM with Odin. I've made compilers and languages before Odin, of course, but it was the first time I used LLVM as a compiler backend. And yeah, it's not the best option. So if anyone's starting their own language, don't use LLVM if you can help it. Sorry. Just do it from scratch if you want it to be fast, at least. If you know you're optimizing backend, then yeah, use LLVM or GCC or something, but... Right, so other things I've got to get planned to do for Odin. So we've got stuff here, what things got to do. I'm just trying to think of anything else because it is just a long night for me and I'm just going to go sleep. Anything else we can talk about? Has anyone got any questions? Any other general things about Odin? You can just see some of the nice little banners here. We could even go just straight directly to the Odin website. Oh, look how sexy this website is. And it's even got a dark mode for it. Dark mode. Yeah. I still need to get properly jazz this up because at the moment it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it style-wise. This is cocked up. And it used to work. It doesn't anymore, and I've not even changed the code, which is what's like, what the... It used to be properly scaled, different multiple columns, and it was like, great, now it doesn't work correctly. So if anyone wants to fix that in CSS, they can. That's one thing I'd like to do. Everything else is working lovely with all different stuff here. I don't mind this thing. I need to add some extra stuff to the things. Got the community, especially the Discord is the most active thing we talk about. We've got the downloads, which is the nightly stuff here. Look at how good that nightly stuff is. Yes, someone actually commented, why does the Windows one is so big compared to the other ones? And I said, that's because we couple all the binaries. And they went, oh, okay. It's... LLVM's that big. These actually are, it's just probably just as big, but they don't couple the binaries. And yeah, It's not a bad page. It's my little bit of JavaScript that I knew. I know. Look how good I am with JavaScript. You never know. You never know. See what I mean? Say what I mean. The blog. We have one which is my test blog. And I posted this over a year ago. That tells you how active I am with my blog on Odin. But I'm more active on, guess which one? gingerbill.org articles. And yes, there's the latest one I was talking about a month ago. I'm going to get another one this month. Most likely near the end. Oh, yes, you added the size. Thank you very much. Yes. I completely forgot that you added the size. Thank you very much for that. It's just, flipping I spin there. Yeah. I do need to finish it. I've got half these half written already with the memory allocated strategy stuff. I could make the blogs link to that, but no, I wanted the Odin blogs to be related to Odin because there's a load of blog ones that I wanted to do. Because these are just my general ones where I want to talk about stuff not even related to Odin. Because there's a bunch of stuff here. Like relative pointers, yeah, I do use some Odin, I use some C++ and C here, and talk about other things. Like for instance, this one is pretty much me explaining my school of thought in programming, which I've not heard many people express, to be honest with you. I call it pragmatism in programming. I'm not sure what the best idea of calling school of thought. It could be empiricist. I call it pragmatist in like William James sense of that word. I've got my Flash Fad ones, which is an audio one. I wanted to talk a bit more about that one because there's an article I want to write more about that because someone emailed me about it and they took it slightly the wrong way. And I had to explain them to them, like, no, this is what I meant. And okay, good. Then there was the other one, Fatal Flaw of Ownership Semantics. I gave it that proper title, The Fatal Flaw. Wait a minute, let me have a drink first because my throat's getting a bit... What's the word for it? Coarse? Rush? No, I don't know. That's better. The Fatal Flaw of Ownership Semantics. I have been toying with a theoretical idea for the... I'm not going to do it in the voice now. The fatal flaw of ownership semantics. General definitions of terminology. Foundations of the object orientation paradigm. Foundations of the ownership semantics paradigm. Mathematical formalism of ownership semantics. The duality of linear structures. Singular holistic worldview. External arguments for ownership semantics. Alternatives to ownership semantics. Conclusion. I don't know why I was doing that voice. It's kind of a bit like the movie trailer, but it's not as deep. I can't do this that deep for some reason. No, I can't. It's the person who does it. He's got a really deep voice and naturally speaks that deep. My voice is baritone. Good. His was like contrabass deep. That's that good. That good, man. But yeah, my general... This is a good argument because it actually took me a long while to think about in my head. I said 18 months and it was. And it took me a long while to figure out what was the problem with it because I knew there was something wrong with it. And I knew there was something wrong with the concept of ownership. And like, the concept made no... It didn't really fit right. The analogy wasn't correct. So it took me a long while to get there. I know tonight's not just ramble stream. It is the relaxing stream where you hear my own voice, which I don't know if that's a relaxing thing to hear. But no, this is just a ramble. Seriously, yeah. So yeah, it's a very interesting article. So the next one I've got two lined up I want to do. I think the next one will be an explanation of the flash fads. But it won't be flash fads. It will be something I talked in there. It was my rant about how bad the web was, effectively. And effectively, the problem with the web It's just how crap it is and badly designed. Then there is the other one I want to do yet is the my research into concurrency and parallelism in general and the different models. It's going to be a long article that was because it's just me explaining a bunch of different things, and then I'm going to have a second section. It might be a two-parter. Might have to be a two-parter because of how big it is. Because part one will be explaining things, part two will be saying what list of things and different how you use them, and then part two will be my criticism. Which ones will be good? And the problem is, I need probably another article on top. I know I'm going to get time. I'm going to make sure I plan these now because I've got the time to do so. Well, plan to do it actually. Is what I mean. Because one of them I want to talk about, which is rolling on a riff here. It's the same kind of idea, but I want to talk about ideas of models of interpretation. So some people call these like worldview, but no, I want to explain this more because it is a very philosophical point, and it's a point that if you think in a certain way, you'll only ever get to certain conclusions. You won't ever think about how other people think. You'll get stuck in one way, and it's annoying, to say the least. Oh yeah, I remember my reply to let's stop, copy, and see. I might do more reply things. Yeah. Yeah, I remember reading this, and I remember the criticism. I was reading her article. What's her name? Evie, isn't it? Yeah. And some of her criticisms of C, and my main complaints are, well, I had some agree with, and some of them I didn't agree with. Like I remember, you can read the article, obviously. Like text inclusion it was okay back in the day. It's not a problem, but there's different things in there. Optional block delimiters in Odin, I just fixed this problem entirely. I got rid of the do thing or the blocks, and you can't mix them. This is not allowed, and you did that on purpose for design reasons. It's not technical reasons. Just thought, done it. But you just fail that to go correctly. Negative modulo, I don't think that's a problem, but I've allowed for both operators in Odin. So you got dividend and divisor, yeah. Lead and octal, 0 for octal, yeah, that's just cheat. We do prefixes like everything else. No power operator. I don't think the power operator is a good idea. It's a rarely used thing. It's not cheap instruction, and it's also very weird syntax. It's not very C-style for loops. Yeah, I agree with this. Most of the time you just want for in loop, but sometimes C loops are really, really useful. It's one of those things where I do get kind of annoyed where people say, oh, C for loops are stupid. I'm like, there are so many use cases that I have for them because they are literally the best way of doing it. But then people who usually are those people that I know shouldn't do it, and then in the language they just make a generator. It's like, what you've just done is effectively is clearer to read as a C4 loop, but you just have to make a silly generator. I've seen it so many times. Switch default fall through. Yeah, I know, that's fixed it. That's easy enough. Yeah, type first. Yeah, I agree. That makes loads of things complicated. Yeah, atomic unsigned long int const volatile pointer to restrict foo array. Yeah, that's a long link. And again, it gets confusing as well because you can put them in different orders. And then you also have the problem we have to have a type. I think it gets confusing, but Odin's approach is just simpler. You can read it as you go. Weak typing is another one. Again, distinct typing in Odin. Integer division, I don't think that's a problem. Just isn't. Byte strings, fine. Just assume everything's UTF-8. Increment decrement, yeah, it's useful, but it's complicated. Exclamation mark it's an aesthetic thing. I know. I don't think there's much of a difference. I'm sorry, I'm just reading through my own articles now. You could read these for yourself, and you'd save a lot of time. I know there's not many viewers tonight because of how bad this stream is. I know it's a bad stream. I apologise. I really do. It's what happens when you're drained and you don't really know what you're saying and you go a bit doolally. That's whispering. But yeah, I mean, if there's any other articles out there like this, Let's Stop Copy and See, I'd highly recommend people read, link me to them, because I could always make another blog post with them, obviously, because they're always cheap. Talking about CSS, but I mean, like, CSS is still shit. I'm sorry, but it is still shit. Yes, it has got better over the days, but it's still shit. Because I understand why the designers did what they did. It was stupid and hubristic, but I understand it. Like Evie's article, she's about not dead with them. Oh, I don't want to get into stupid fucking politics. Sorry. I'm not going into politics. That's just annoying. Right, let's get a nonsense off there. Ready? Okay, politics boring. No one wants to talk about that. Unless it's historical stuff, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, man. Get your history books out. Get them out. Yeah, I should probably stop now and go to sleep. So this stream has been a very short one today. A lot shorter than I normally have. If anyone's got any more questions before I go, I'll stay on for the next 2 minutes and then I'll be going to bed. So thank you for all for listening. And I've got a few other things I will do probably for next week, if I do anything next week. Again, I don't know if I might just plan and say, nope, no stream, I'm having a rest. You'll find out. Oh yeah, I remember this. I still know I did it, but it's just such a nice thing to have. It's a different way of restricting procedures. Yeah. Useful idioms. I think I should probably put more useful idioms on there. Like this one, I know it sounds like small, but defer if condition. Many people don't even realise that, but it's such a useful thing to do. Advanced idioms, yeah. Ooh, that's how much I'm yawning. Wow, and how tired I am. This is probably the worst stream I've done for Odin Wednesday. I'd make Odin ashamed. Very much ashamed. There's more stuff I need to add to this now, by the way. And this is wrong. It doesn't just currently work for it anymore. Shall we just fix it? And what I need to also do is get rid of where it says equals. Let's remove everything with... What are the other ones that I need to add in there? Some others, I guess. Just update that first. I should have probably just put title there. And also, no, that's ready. We got rid of the defined. Config default value. There's a bunch of things that the wiki needs improving on. Please, it's up completely open to everyone. Just keep adding to it. It's a wiki, so please do stuff. I don't know why we need this here anymore. But who wrote this? Was it me? No, it wasn't me. I edited it, but I didn't create this. I know who created this now. Yeah. Operators, keywords, just a big list of random stuff. There's reserved stuff. There's also there's another one that's reserved. That's not even used by anything. I don't know why it's in an operator. It's reserved. General roadmap. Yeah, we need to Yeah, we've got some other platforms that we have to do as well. I've got the WASM stuff working. I'm not working on that for a while, but it will work properly. This is not a very clear roadmap, but it's pretty good. Because that is effectively what I want to do. This is what this goal was. I need to get working on those systems, even if it's shit. I mean, seriously. Just call it experimental. For those two. That's how you get around it, right? Call it experimental and then get around it. We've got the LOMC API, full debug support. Inline assembly is another thing I want to do in that release as well, because you can get it for free. Well, it's not for free, but yeah. This is the problem with inline assembly. I did have an idea of actually how to do it, because I was planning on implementing, but how most compilers do it, it looks just ugly. You're not even needing it, but I think I've come up with a better solution for it, at least. A simpler one, at least. Because you just effectively, inline assembly does look like a procedure. So you just pass the parameters that you want to pass in. Pretty simple. And they'll be typed and everything, and it'll all be all correct. So there won't be any issues there. What else is there I got to do? No, that's about it. So, right. Thank you all for listening and watching this absolutely dreadful stream. I apologise on today of Odin's Law. It's not even Thursday, not Odin's Day yet. Oof, how bad am I? So thank you all for watching, and good night, everybody.